Hello, hello, hello. This is Dionne Williams. How are you? This is Emerge Design Talk, and it's 2022 edition. It's a new year. Happy New Year. Very excited about the 2022 new video content of Emerge Design Talk, which highlights legends and icons in the fashion industry. These legends they walk so we can run, the people in fashion. I'm super excited about tonight and my guest, TJ Walker, who is the co-founder of Cross Colors. Cross Colors started in 1989 and it took the fashion industry by storm with its urban clothing and the model of clothing without prejudice. So I'm going to put TJ on. I'm super excited about that. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dion?
Hey, TJ. I am obsessed about the story of Cross Colors and yourself, and I'm looking forward to this talk.
Yeah, I am as well. I am as well. Yeah, thank you for allowing me to be here. Talk about the Cross Colors brand.
Yes, legends. So I am wanted to know where you're originally from. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Mississippi. To be exact, I'm from Toomsuma, Mississippi,
Oh,
which is yeah, just east of Meridian, Mississippi.
oh, nice. Okay, so do you, because you are an illustrator, you're creative, because we have a lot of creatives that watch this stream. And so, did you always know that you wanted to get into the creative or design field when you were coming up or going into college? How did you know this was your path?
Well, I've always, just from a very young age, been an, I guess what you can call an artist. I always
Yeah.
like to draw, drawing everything. I was drawing when I was supposed to be doing my homework. So, and my parents encouraged it. My teachers encouraged it as well. So I knew early on that I wanted to draw, and I didn't know what that was going to be, but that's what I was doing, and I'm glad I did because I wasn't very good at much anything else. So.
So, what do you consider yourself? A illustrator, like a designer, fashion designer?
I consider myself all of those for the most part. Illustrator, because my foundation is in graphic design and illustration and printmaking. That's what I got my degrees in. My master's degree is in fine arts. And I focus on painting, illustration, printmaking, and design also. So all of those things is what it is. And I don't limit and never tell creatives that they can limit their talent as far as creativity because it crosses all boundaries.
That's right. That's right. So, how did you meet Carl Jones? How did
That is
the story start?
Well, after I finished grad school, and I wanted to originally go off to Paris, and that didn't really work out. So I just one day decided, told my family members that I was going to drive off to Los Angeles. And that's what I did. I drove off to Los Angeles in hopes of being an illustrator.
Mm.
That was my intent. But in that search for a job as an illustrator, I realized that I had to quickly change or pivot to something else because that wasn't really happening because they were transitioning from photography. I mean, from illustration to photography at the time, as far as
Mm-hmm.
illustration is concerned. So with that, I applied for a job with LA Times, and it was for a screen printing company. And just happens that Carl Jones was the owner of the screen printing company. So my first job in Los Angeles was with Carl Jones, and he was the owner of the company, and I did graphic designs for the screen printing company.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
how we met. Yeah. And that
So
was
I,
in the 80s. That was in the
that
80s,
was
mid 80s.
that. So I met that was the screen printing company, but I also read that was that the clothing design surf fetish that he
Well,
started.
actually, yes. Well, with that screen printing company, he was actually working with the art director at the time who was there, but she left and he was working with her to do a clothing line, and it was a California lifestyle brand, and it was called Surf Fetish. And so I continued to work on it with him and do the graphics and those kind of things for the brand, and it hit. It actually hit. It was a brand that hit, and that's something that a lot of people don't know about us. That we worked together before Cross Colors, like on quite a few
Hmm.
projects that were successful. So even before Cross Colors, we already had a tie into the industry and some connections, so we could actually move Cross Colors forward when it did, when we did finally get the orders and everything for it.
Nice. So when Carl had dissolved Surf Fetish, you guys came together to create this new company. Is that what happened?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So we were working on the Surf Fetish brand together there. He took on partners. Then he and the partners they parted ways, and Carl left that company, the Surf Fetish brand, and then I followed and left as well. And then we decided to join together to do Cross Colors, the clothing brand, because we felt there was a void in the industry for that product and for product for us at the time that was not identified for us as well.
Yeah, so at that time in the late 80s, it was all kind of police uprise. It was
It
civil
was
unrest,
gang violence, it was all
drugs.
that. Yes, all of that was the highlights of the news at the time, and for that we wanted to address that as well, and so that's why we created the brand and the name itself, which was kind of an accident in a way because the name originally was Cross Cultures, but then we had to change it because of someone else having a name that was very similar, which our attorney suggested. But then we settled on Cross Colors, and our marketing director, who is from Jamaica, said, let's do it the British way, spell colors the
Mhm.
British way. And that's how we came up with the name Cross Colors. But it worked for us
Yeah.
because with the cross colors and with, gang violence being so prevalent and those kind of things at the time, and gangs were identified specifically by colors, especially out here in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
then that was a way for us to reinforce unity and education and those kind of things too that we were really pushing with the brand.
So how did you come up with the concept? Because you're the creative and design. I
Well,
read somewhere that just started with a piece of fabric. Is that true? Like a piece of kente cloth?
it is. It is. It started with a piece of kente cloth that a salesperson brought to us while we were, at one time, and he said, "You guys should do something with this." We didn't really know what it was, and because I was, I love to research, so I researched it, found out what it was, and found out the importance of it, and everything about the fabric. And as usual, Carl would give it to me, and then he'd say, "Well, TJ, do some stuff." So I would do boards all by hand. I would illustrate some concept boards, and then we would present those to see if people had interest in whatever we had. And that's what we did. We started with that, and those colors were so brilliant and so
Yeah.
saturated that we were just so inspired by the colors themselves. And that's really what kicked off the brand, and just knowing the history of the fabric itself too, and the importance of the colors as well.
So what would you say cross colors at it was denim, like the design aesthetic. How did you what was your approach to the apparel?
The approach with the apparel was what we call hookups, to be honest with you. And hookups means that everything from the cap to the toe had to hook up and match. So
Ah,
that was the formula basically for the collection. And if you look at the clothes, you can see that we would have everything from a t-shirt to a hat to even a belt, a bag, a pant, a shirt, a jacket. All these things would coordinate, and that's how we sold the product. And we were really, really pushing for the fact that it had to be sold that way too in the stores, so that when somebody came, they would buy the entire look, and it would already be pre-merchandised for them as well.
so I know a lot of designers who watch this video. How do you scale? So the story was that I read that you guys went to Magic
Yes, we
and
did.
got $30 million worth of orders. Is this the
We
story?
got millions of dollars in orders there,
What?
and it was
Please elaborate on this.
well, actually, to getting there was a journey. We had funds to, produce the samples and to get to the show. But honestly, and Carl and I, we talk about this quite often. We knew that at that point we had to get orders. We didn't have a choice but to get orders, and if we
Yeah.
didn't, we wouldn't be in business. You wouldn't be talking about Cross Colors today, probably because we had no cash left, basically, from at that point. But we got orders. We got a lot of orders. We got so many orders that we got scared on the way back home because we realized we had to produce them. And then we also understood production as well. And understanding production meant that, we understood that certain items would be produced faster than others. And
Ah.
if we had to wait on the denim would have held us up as far as production timeline. So we contact our retailers, the people that order from us, and asked them if we could ship them the hats and t-shirts first,
Mm.
and then follow with the denim. And they agreed for the most part. And we did. And it was great because we shipped those because those were a quick turn for us because we were familiar with doing those too, even more so than a denim from my past experience with Surf Fetish and other brands. So with that, we could turn t-shirts very quickly for screen printing and then the hats as well. Very quick turn. So with that, the product was shipped and sold out. And I think we may have shipped the product a couple of times even before we got the denim out. But people were waiting for it and anxiously waiting for the product as well. And
Wow.
from there, it just exploded. As far as the product is concerned.
So in Magic, were you the only Black brand that was there at the
The
time?
only one. From our knowledge, we're the only one. The only one that was a black owned company there, represented by other black individuals. We were the only ones. And it was so important for us too, even in our marketing and our advertising and promotion, that we highlight us. And so as you see from my advertisement, our first model was Jaimin from Amistad and Blood Diamond. He was our first model that
Mm.
wore our products, and he definitely represent what we really wanted to see and who we wanted to see in our product at the time as well. And but all with that, we still knew and also understood the fact that we wanted our product to cross over. And that's why we really had the
Yeah,
name and slogan clothing
yeah,
without prejudice. And
yeah,
that's the slogan we still have today on our resurgence of the brand too.
yeah. That's good. And so once I know you guys were really nervous once you left Magic and had all those orders because now you have to fulfill it. I don't think a lot of designers think they're creative, but don't think about the business part.
Right, right. But that's a unique formula for Carl and myself as well, as far as business partners. And that's what I really encourage with people when they say they want to have partners or go into business. Carl is definitely one side of the coin. Well, actually, we both kind of go both sides of the coin in
Mhm.
terms of thinking of the financial and also the design part. But I'm more heavy on the design part, and he's more heavy on the financial part and making sure that is secure and navigating that and the business side of doing fashion. And I think that's what a lot of creatives don't get, even in school. And I'm an instructor, and I've been teaching for over 20 years now. And so even in school, I realized too that things that are lacking a lot of times in the education, as far as how it's set up for designers or creatives, they don't get that part a lot of
Yeah.
times, and that unless they seek it and go get it themselves while they're in doing the courses.
Now, how did you start getting the celebrities to wear your clothes, like Will Smith, Martin Lawrence? Like, how did
That
it
was that was great because before we went to the magic show or around the same time or so, we had so many samples laying around, and we call them kill samples. They were the ones that they're beautiful samples, but they don't make the cut basically in terms of the
okay.
merchandising. And creatives know, and Carl and I are creatives as well. And we were so excited to have our own brand that we made a lot of stuff. We made a lot of samples and a lot of extras too as well. So those extras, we were sitting down, and Carl was like, "Well, to our marketing director, why don't you take those out to the studios or somewhere so that somebody could maybe use them or whatever?" So he took them out, and that was David Stennett. He took them out to the studios, and he did, and then he called us when he was there, and he said, "Oh, you guys, Will Smith likes all the stuff. Like, what should I do?" And Carl was like, before he could even finish the sentence, he was like, give him everything. So, and believe it or not, in just a few days, we saw the clothes on television. We saw them on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And from that gave us a formula. We
Yeah,
stuck with that formula and still stick with that today as far as product placement. We didn't really know what we were doing at the time, but it
yeah,
really worked for us, and it still works for us today. And from that, we navigated to the music industry
yeah.
because of the hip hop and R&B movements, particularly hip hop. We started to do that. We hired someone who was in the music industry, managing young and up and coming an artist,
Oh,
and he and his sister, they would invite more up and coming artists to come from other places as well, and they would come in, and we put clothes on those individuals in the likes of Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Tupac.
Up and
these
coming.
young, these up and coming. Yeah, of course they were, they were known, but they were up and coming at the time. They were young. They were kids at the time too. They were very young at the time, as you can see in some of the advertisement that we were fortunate to have them placed in at the time.
Oh my God. I mentioned to you before we got on that I was your target at the time. And so cross colors was, part of my life coming up in college. And so did you know that you was changing the industry? Like what did you know?
We did. We know more now than we did then.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, at
yeah,
the time we were just excited to do what we were doing. We wanted to do something for us. We wanted to do something we were proud of. Do and quality and making sure we did business the correct way were the things at the top of our pillars in terms of how we actually conducted business and also our design process as well, and even the aesthetics of even our booth and all the other things
yeah.
too, and even our ads and the way we promote all those things too. We always had a high standard and still do for the quality of our advertisements as well as and even the individuals coming through the company too and who we're involved with as well, which we really highlight now today too as well. But back then we didn't know. I
Yeah.
just have to tell you, we didn't really know what impact we were having at the time and the long lasting impact that it seems to be, resonating even today, with individuals as well.
Exactly. So when you were telling about the Kill It Pal, whatever it was, I was reading something. You would just Carl mentioned that you would just be designing just tons of collections. How how do you start that? And how many collections at that time were you doing? How many designs were you
You
doing?
know, Dion, honestly, I don't know how many I was doing because I am I love sketching. So it was to me never work. It never is work when I'm sketching. And so I would sketch everything. I would sketch every item, every piece, and merchandise it and all those things too. Carl and I would look at it. I would re-merchandise it, sketch again, but I would sketch constantly. And I'm pretty quick. So I don't know how many I've done, but I have a lot of the original sketches from back in the 90s. I have a lot of the original, we have a lot of the photographs that we took of individuals that would come to the studio and the likes of Muhammad Ali and the Mayor Tom Bradley, other individuals that would come through the company. We have those pictures as well that we have in our archives, which have led us to actually do some amazing things like
Yeah.
an exhibition at the California African American Museum,
Yes.
which was a few years ago, and it was 5,000 square feet full of cross colors, our archives.
Now,
And
wow.
it's amazing. And we still have shows right now. We have one right now in Paris, actually, that we're involved in as well. And people are constantly asking us to do exhibition. One just closed today, actually, in Mississippi, in my hometown. That's a joint exhibition with Cross Colors and Patrick Kelly as
Oh my
well.
gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing journey. And the brand, Carl and I said the brand tells us what to do. It
Yeah.
shows us the light at the end of the tunnel, and we just kind of follow it because we definitely don't know most of the time what we're doing. We just kind of follow along with the brand and let it guide us through.
So some of the hardships, like I know you guys are always on the up, but what's some of the hardships that you remember? Some of the things that kind of come to mind during that time?
Well, I think one of the hardships is the fact that, in doing business too, when you get to a point where your product is selling and people realize it's a commodity,
Hmm.
I know, we focus quite a bit a lot of times on color and, not having access and those kind of things too with product, but people will stand aside and you change colors when, as Carl says, you become green. You don't become a color or a race or anything when your product is retailing. You just become another vendor in that establishment, and you form those partnerships, real lasting partnerships too, where they feel like they can work with you because they see something of importance of your brand. Of course, we had some difficulties even in the initial phase when we go back to even when we got all those orders. We had to find all that fabric. It's not like you just snap
Yeah,
your fingers and then you have access to those raw materials like the denim or
yeah,
the even the jersey or the for the t-shirts and even access to the printing equipment and other facilities and those kind of things. Those are relationships. And what we found that even in our navigation, it's so important to form long lasting relationships, and people will respect you as long as you are respecting them and doing good business as well. Of course, there's always challenges in anything
Yeah.
that you do. Okay.
Yeah.
But we never look at challenges as, a wall for us. We look at it as something that we get around or over. So, and that's what we continue to do and navigate the business that way.
Oh, very nice. A couple months ago, I was at Nordstrom and
Yes.
with my daughter who is 18, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's cross colors." So I'm telling her like, "This is when I was your age." So how is cross colors is back, or it never left,
Cross
or
Colors did leave. Cross Colors left for about 20 years or so, or maybe a
okay?
little more. It
Mhm.
left. We started in 1989. We launched in 1990. We were around for about 5 years, 5 strong years. Then after that, we went away. We went away, and about 5.5, maybe 6 years ago, we came back because some retailers reached out to us and said, "What are you guys doing? And do you think you might want to do this brand again and this 90s thing again, because we feel like it's bubbling, in the industry."
Yeah.
And we kind of, we talked to each other, and we were like, at first we were hesitant. We were like, why would somebody want to wear those clothes again? You
Oh,
know, we didn't think, and we said, okay, we'll do it. So we
yeah.
did. And so interesting because, it's like anytime when you get something back, you want to like kind of do it and make it even
Yes.
better, and
Yeah.
that was our intent. We said we're going to make some things that are going to be, for the market now, as far as the fit and those kind of things too, and for the youth, because we were like, well, we know what they want and da da da, kind of trying to get a handle on that. We showed it to the retailers, and the retailers told us, "This is so good. This is great. These are great things, but where's that stuff you did in the '90s?" So we had to kind of go back to the drawing board in a way. The stuff did look somewhat like the things from the '90s, but we had to go back to the drawing board and give them what we did in the '90s. And we
Yeah.
found that we were going back, and I was scouring the internet trying to find our old pieces, buying them back from the young kids out there who were fighting with me online for pricing because they're shrewd. And with that, we would just reproduce and recreate the same pieces we
Yeah.
had in the '90s. And that's what people
Yeah.
want. And that's what they were wanting, because they were looking at Martin, they were looking at In
Yeah.
Living Color, they were looking at the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and they were wanting to get those exact pieces they wore. So we found that that's what we had to do. And that's how we were able to get back in the groove too of the industry and of the customer as well, with that.
Nice. Yeah, Gen Z, the young they love all 90s. So
They love the
they,
'90s. They
yeah, they
love
will,
that, and yeah, it's vintage to them. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely
vintage.
vintage. So what are you doing now? What's the Black Design Collective that
Oh,
did
the
you
Black
start?
Design Collective. That is something that myself, uh, and Kevin Hall,
Oh
who is amazing, and
yeah.
also Angela Dean, who's a designer, and also Ruthie Carter, who of
Nice.
course is amazing,
Yes.
from Black Panther. We started a nonprofit, and the nonprofit's intent is simple: it's just to help creatives of color navigate the industry of fashion. That's what it is. And with that too, we found through our navigation of doing this, we've been around for over 3 years now. And in this, we do workshops every month
Okay.
that identify specific topics as far as marketing, promotion, business, and those kind of things. We do talks where we talk to industry professionals and have them give their input and their history and their navigation through the industry. We also help them seek funding, business strategies, these kind of things too, with the collective. And there's a membership fee for that. We have student members as well as professional memberships. And our website is blackdesigncollective.com. And anyone can go check it out. You can see what it's about, and you can even donate as well, because our funds help us, continue to do the workshops. And we're very excited this year because we're launching what we call our Creative Center. It's
Oh,
launching right downtown Los Angeles in the New Mart. We
nice.
partnered with Fashion Tech Works, and we have access to sewing machines. We have access to training, to
Love it.
courses as well, as far as 3D design, 2D design, CAD design. And I teach, and I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I teach digital classes, Illustrator, Photoshop. So we have access to Illustrator, Photoshop as well. there as far as training also. And with Fashion Tech Work, they have 3D printing. Also, I call them the WeWorks of fashion because they have little conference rooms or in different sizes
Oh, yeah.
actually, where you can have rooms where you can have meetings. You can come and you can also have events there as well. And then on another floor, we have an entire floor devoted to trade shows and fashion shows. There's a stage set there with a digital screen behind it. We have monitors all around the room. So we're going to be doing those kind of things too, because we have events also for Black Design Collective each year, and we'll be having them there and hosting them there now from now on.
Oh my God, that's great. So everybody can look on the bottom of the screen where the website is and social media IG. Make sure you follow them and then sign up. I'm definitely want to become a member.
Wonderful, wonderful. Look forward to it. Yes, and just reach out to me personally. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
thank you.
here to take care of
Thank
you.
you so much. I just want to say thank you so much for this
You're
time.
welcome.
I
You're
want to
welcome.
thank you for making my teens and college years enjoyable and fashionable.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So important back then too. I forgot to mention, like when we started the brand too, it was men's primarily. For
Oh,
we actually started with women's, but then we gravitated to men's. But TLC,
yeah,
that's why you were very excited about the brand too, probably as well,
yeah.
because they were the ones that really pushed it for the females at the time as well, and
Oh,
merchandised it for us in a way where the women felt very comfortable wearing it as well, the young girls and everything. So
oh, that is true.
it
We get back. So that's right. It was all men at first until TLC
was,
started to.
TLC started yes, they merchandise it. So we said they helped to make it unisex. So
So did you eventually start making? Did you think like, okay, we need to focus on women?
we actually, honestly, we started with women's first, but then the men's took off, and then we went back to, and then we just kind of made some product, and then we went to women's product as well, because then we did a few collections for women's, and they're beautiful. And Crush, the group, wore the product. They were our models for that as
Yeah.
well at the time. Yeah, so we did make women's after that, but influenced by TLC. Yeah, and how they merchandise the product. Yes.
Oh my God, that day! I bet you that was crazy day for you. Now,
Oh, it was crazy. There were so many crazy days back then, though. So many crazy days.
but I
Yes.
know you're enjoying life now. Maybe a little bit more calmer.
It's a little more calmer. It's a lot. It would have been calmer if we didn't start Cross Colors again. But that's okay. It's different. We say business is better now than it was back then, even though the numbers were really high. But now we're just building the business in a more concrete way, for longevity. And
Yeah.
we're adding on some new product lines at the end of this year. We're adding on denim, some beautiful denim, some high end denim, as well as a shoe collection. We're adding that on too as well by the end of this year. And we're just happy about, and also our license programs that we're doing with the brand is such a strategic move for us, I think, with the brand this time. Instead of just focusing on cross colors solely, we're actually taking on the icons from back in the day too, their licenses, which is a challenge too, because that's a lot of work. Just obtaining the licenses is a lot of work. If anybody knows anything about that,
That's
we
right.
have Tupac, we have Snoop Dogg, we have Left Eye, we have different ones that are Aaliyah, we have that as well, and we have some amazing ones that we just acquired that I can't mention now. We haven't released them yet, but those are coming down the pipeline as well. But the
See, this is
license
what I'm
programs,
talking about. TJ has, oh my God, the wealth of information. You got to be a part of the Black Design Collective to be a part of their workshops. It's so much from we were talking about today, from scaling to business to now
mhm,
licensing to ordering fabric, just orders. People have to be they need to be a part of that. Designers and creators.
right, and financial literacy as well, all the way through. Yeah, through the process.
Oh my, I need this workshop.
Well,
I
come
need
on down. We're ready for you.
I need all your information. It was you all have you started and continue with this movement. You are always going to be in our history books
Mhm.
and culture. Just so I just want to say, make sure you know how much we appreciate
Oh,
you.
thank you so much. And I forgot to mention one more thing. It's
Uh,
our mentorship program with Cross Colors. We work closely with the HBCUs. We started with HBCUs with Howard specifically, with one intern, and now we are across other colleges as well with our internship program. And we have that every year. We take interns or mentees through our program each year. They do the program, they come out, they do special things, and it's all guided by our original intern, Kadeem, who actually is amazing, and he navigates that for us. But we
Oh, he
have
was
that
the original.
also.
Okay, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. The mentorship program, which is a great part of, and we have HBCU product as well that we have that's in the stores also.
I'm going to go on eBay or somewhere. Where can I want to find some vintage cross.
Well, that's where I'm finding. But if you go in there, you and I might be fighting for it. So
Exactly. But also go to Nordstrom because I did.
yes, go to Nordstrom's. Yeah.
Yeah, Nordstrom.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and the website too. Go to Cross Colors.
Oh, that's right. Cross
Yeah,
colors.
crosscolors.com.
That's right. Thank you so much, TJ.
Crosscolors.com.
I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. This
Oh,
was
you're welcome. I'm
great.
so glad. Thank you for the
Oh my
opportunity.
gosh, I
Yeah.
got to make sure because I host the Emerge Fashion Show.
Hmm.
It happens during New York Fashion Week where
Oh,
we
wonderful.
showcase emerging designers from all across the country. And so we also present the coveted Fashion Innovator Award. I can't wait till I honor you and Carl for your
Oh,
presentation.
that's so
So I will
sweet.
be
Yeah.
keeping in touch. But thank you so much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you support TJ Walker because he has given us our fashion and from when we're younger, just really support the culture. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Dionne. Always a pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.